Today we are looking at chemistry. The chemistry is the topic we are starting up with now, and what we are looking at the introduction to chemistry. Introduction to chemistry. So when you are talking about chemistry, you need to first define chemistry. Ohun tí à ń gbé yẹ̀wò lónìí ni ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú chemistry. Kí ni ìtumọ̀ chemistry? That is what the meaning of chemistry. When I say chemistry, chemistry is the branch of science. Is the branch of science that deal with the component, property, and how the element relates together. Is the branch of science that deal with what? Components, property, and elements of a substance. So this substance is subjected to some changes. When we say changes, we have changes that affect the way how elements relate together. Because of this, we have two types of changes. So we have types of changes now. We have types of changes. In that case, we have what we call physical change. We have physical changes, and then we have chemical changes. We have chemical changes. So we have physical changes and we have chemical changes. When we say physical changes, what do we mean by physical changes? Physical changes are those changes that form together when there is no new thing formed. So à ń sọ nípa chemistry. Àwọn ìyípadà tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú chemistry wọ́n pín sí ọ̀nà méjì. Àkọ́kọ́ ni àwọn èyí tí a lè fojú rí, òun là ń pè ní physical changes. Nígbà tí àwọn tẹ́ pé a lè fojú rí wọn, àwọn là ń pè ní chemical changes. So kí wá ní ìtumọ̀ physical changes yìí? Àwọn ẹ pé a lè fojú rí wọn ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tuntun kò ń fọ́ọ̀mù nǹkan tuntun. Ìyẹn ni pé new product are not formed. So physical changes are changes that can easily reverse but no new substance form. Ìyẹn ni pé àwọn nǹkan tuntun àwọn nǹkan tuntun máa form a lè dá padà. Ìyẹn ni pé easily reverse but no new product form. But chemical changes, they are those ones that it cannot be easily reversed but new products are always formed. They are not easily reversed but new products are always can form new products. Let me give you an example of physical changes. Àpẹẹrẹ tá à ń pè ní physical changes ẹgbẹ́ àwọn nǹkan àfojúrí tá a lè rí sẹ́kọ̀ wọ́n jẹ́ tá a lè fojú rí nínú chemistry. Kí làwọn àpẹẹrẹ ní dissolution of salt in water. Let me give you some example of physical changes. Example of physical changes. One is dissolution of salt in water. Dissolution of salt in water. When I was explaining physical changes, I said physical changes, new products are not formed but it can be reversed. Fún àpẹẹrẹ ní sìn pé ohun kan tuntun kọ́ là ń fọ́ọ̀mù ṣùgbọ́n a lè dá padà sí bó ṣe wà. Ẹ wo, look at salt and water now. If you put salt inside water, you will notice that the salt will dissolve in water but you can get your water and salt back. That means you can you can reverse it. That's for physical changes, you can reverse it. But if it's chemical changes, you cannot get it back once they form. That means in the physical changes, once they form, it can be reversed. But in the chemical changes, it cannot be reversed. Apart from the solution of salt and in water, the other one is what? Melting of ice. Melting of ice. Ìyẹn ni pé ice block tá bá jẹ́ kó yòrò, physical changes ni. Báwo ló jẹ́ physical changes ni pé ó máa fọ́ọ̀mù nǹkan mìíràn ṣùgbọ́n tàbá a tún lè jẹ́ kí ice wa omi ó máa yòrò máa di omi a lè get omi wa padà sí ice block padà èyí tá fi ń pè ní physical changes nìyẹn. So dissolution of salt in water. 2, melting of ice. So I will expect you also to what you can give me various other example of physical change that is always what available in your surrounding. Okay, chemical changes. Now let's look at example of chemical changes. Chemical changes. Example of chemical changes. E.g. What's one? Burning of fuel. I can say what? Burning of fuel. If I say burning of fuel, take for instance now, if you burn fuel like petrol now, petrol is a chemical compound. Like let me just give you an example of maybe gas or fuel. Fuel can be gas like methane, CH4. If you burn in water, if you burn in the air, CH4 plus O2, see what it's going to form. If CH4 burn in here, it's going to give you carbon dioxide plus water. So if you look at it, what do you notice here? It reacts, it burn, it produces what? New product. You can see new product always for a chemical changes. Yẹn ni pé àwọn nǹkan ọ̀tun ló máa ń fọ́ọ̀mù tí chemical change bá ṣẹlẹ̀, then ó à lè reverse ẹ̀. Yẹn pé má da water papọ̀ mọ́ carbon dioxide kò ní fún wa ní tó wà ní tẹ́lẹ̀. So this is your product. So your reactant will not give you product back. Yẹn ni pé ohun tó fọ́ọ̀mù yẹn tó bá mix papọ̀ kò lè fún wa ní eléyìí chemical changes kò ṣe é reverse. But the physical changes are reversing. So those are the what? 2 types of changes in chemistry. Those are 2 types of changes we have in chemistry, both physical changes and chemical changes. And this one now should now take us to what? To difference between physical changes and chemical changes. Kí làwọn ìyàtọ̀ tó wà láàrin physical changes? We can do that one in a tabular form. So difference between physical changes and chemical changes. You can have that one in tabular form. Here we have chemical changes. And here I have physical changes. So we are talking about different now in the tabular form. We can look at what? Difference between the physical changes and chemical changes. 1. For chemical changes, it is not easily reversed. It is not easily reversed. Chemical changes to party form. That is not easily reversed. Why physical changes? It can be easily reversed. Just like the example I gave you the other time. If you melt an ice now, if the ice melt, turn to water, you can what? Turn that water back to ice. How? If you put your normal water inside what? Refrigerator or fridge, you can turn back what? When the temperature reduces, it turn back to solid. That is what? That means it can be reversed. But like your burning of fuel, it's fuel burn. It's a question I told you the other time. You give us carbon dioxide plus water. You cannot mix the carbon dioxide plus water to give you back your CH4 plus O2. So that means if you mix this one back, mix this one together, you cannot give this one back again. That means it cannot be easily reversed. 2. So we are talking about what? Difference between them. Another one is what? No new substance form. No new substance. No new substance form. Here, new substance. New substance is formed. So that's our other difference. So no new substance form. Yẹn ni pé a ò kì í fọ́ọ̀mù nǹkan tuntun mìíràn nínú chemical changes, but physical changes a máa ń fọ́ọ̀mù nǹkan tuntun mìíràn. So then another one ni here for chemical changes, minimum heat is involved. Yẹn ni pé ooru tó máa ń wà ní physical change kékeré ni. Máa ṣe chemical reaction tó máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ́ di pé ooru tó máa wà níbẹ̀ tẹ́ máa rí níbẹ̀ kò tún pọ̀. But chemical change and physical changes, that's what always it doesn't accomplish by what? By large amount of heat. So you can say what? It's accompanied accomplished by large amount of heat. That is what we can see, large amount of heat. Ohun tí a ní ti heat ní different wà láàrin wọn. Ooru kékeré ló máa ń wà nínú chemical changes. But láti get physical changes, ooru tó máa ń wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ó máa ń jẹ́ ooru tó pọ̀ because chemical changes máa rí tí nǹkan máa melt ooru tó máa.
Mo ní ìbéèrè o.
Okay, sir.
Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìgbà tí ice block bá melt.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sir.
Pé physical changes.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sir.
Ẹ sì ń sọ nísìnyí pé physical changes tó nílò ooru tó pọ̀. Ṣé ooru náà tó pọ̀ ló mú kí ice block tó melt ní tàbí kí ló fà á? Kò yé mi.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ooru tó fà á tí ice block fi melt lédè. Ẹ rí i pé ice block nínú ti chemistry a ní ó wà ní solid state. Kó tó lè yòrò wá sí omi ó máa nílò heat yẹn ló máa break ohun tí à ń pè ní molecular force of attraction tó hold the molecule ice block together because molecule ice block solid ni wọ́n wà so ooru àwọn forces kan ó hold wọn molecules yẹn so láti wá break molecule àwọn forces yẹn kó lè wá yòrò sí omi ó ní the large amount of heat so tí wàá ní enough amount of heat kò ní enough kinetic energy tá a pè ní kinetic energy láti break àwọn molecules tó bá ní matter wà ní ice yẹn láti wá melt wá sí liquid tó bá wà ní liquid sim forces tó bá ní díẹ̀ kò tó mọ́ so nítorí náà ó need the large amount of heat in the physical melting of ice to water. So you are welcome, sir. So now because of that we are also moving to okay there is another one difference. Well, look at the one here under the chemical change. Mass is constant. Mass, just like the law of Darwin proportion in chemistry, that even if a substance changes during chemical reaction, there is no change in amount of mass. So the quantity of matter, any chemical change is taking place. Even if it changes to another different form, the mass is still maintained that constant. But in physical changes, there is always change in mass. There is always change in mass. For example, now let me look at this. If you have CH4 plus O2, I get the example. You form what? You form CO2 plus A2. If it's a chemical change, if you measure the mass of this and this, you equal to this. But in a physical change, let's say for example now I have ice. It now melt to water. Just like a question I asked a student, I asked one of my students that if you have an ice block and you put ice block inside water, and if that ice block now melt, what will happen to the level of water initially? Will the level of water remain the same? Some students say no, it will remain the same. Some students say oh, it will increase. Some students say what, it will decrease. And what the level of water? If you put ice block inside water, and by the time that ice block melt, you see that level of water there will drop. You don't be wondering why the level of water drop. It's because of what? When the ice block is in solid state, water is in solid state, which is ice block, it have more volume. Because of that one, it's less. It's less. Its weight is not high. It's not much. It didn't have more weight, so it's less because of volume that is happening. So density is less. So because of that, their mass can change. Mass of substance can change when it's changing from one state to another. So it's making under this place. Mass is not always constant under the physical time. That's the word. There's always change in mass. There is change in mass. With this, we are able to now look at the changes, definition of chemistry, then the types of changes we have in chemistry, which is physical and chemical changes, and we have seen it different in a tabular form. At least 4 differences between what physical changes and chemical changing. So next time we meet, we move to the next aspect. So I would like to stop here. This is where we stop it for today under this introduction to chemistry.